And we'll call the regular Commissioners Court of Atascosa County to order, and we'll begin with a prayer and a pledge of allegiance. Mr. Bowen, would you please lead us?
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for the blessings. We thank you for the cooler temperatures and bring us much needed rain. We ask you to be with this court this morning and let us make wise decisions for Atascosa County. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Yeah, we're glad to see a good crowd here this morning. We appreciate y'all showing up, paying attention to your county government at work. Commissioner Gillespie is absent this morning. He had a meeting in Austin, and they moved the time up on him, so he had to be there earlier, so he had to take off for that. So the next item we have would be public comments. And Charles Jones, sir, if you please to the podium, and you'll have 5 minutes, sir.
Judge Cood.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
It's going here. Judge Cood, fellow members, commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Charles Urbina Jones. And of course, this issue is about electronic voting machines versus paper ballots. In my experience, I ran for Congress many years ago and covered 31 counties in the 23rd district. And the issues that I saw there was that the rural counties could do their job, but the problem is in the county, when you go to paper, it's very, very time consuming. We had places like Maverick County and others that would come in at 4 and 5 o'clock the next day, or they couldn't finish their counting and they'd take another day to get it done. That's just one thing to keep into consideration. Janet Rubel, who's the elections administrator, is doing a hell of a job. And there should not be any comments about whether she's Republican or Democrat. She is all out of county. She just does a great job at training people. I know my wife works as a precinct judge for her. And I would always kid my wife to say when the electronic machines came in that with Janet, we didn't have to worry about Hugo Chavez coming in and trying to change our machines, or that there'd be any types of illegalities, that we'd have hordes of illegals coming into our county and doing this. It just doesn't happen in Atascosa County. She sits on everything. People know what to do, and it's done. Plus this identification with driver's license, that just cuts to. You present your driver's license, you show up on the machine, you either are or not. If there's a problem, then there's a provisional ballot, and we'll deal with that later. But it cuts through all the baloney, pardon the expression, with all the crap, and it's a good deal. My grandfather used to say, "Don't fix something that's working; it ain't broke." And the only improvements I can say about the system is in regards to we need more precinct judges. We need more people out there. We need to help Ms. Rubel. And again, you either go out there with a scant crowd or you just do it right. So my perspective, let's just do it right. And if we can squeeze a few dollars out. Let's pay these precinct people a little bit more money, because they're doing what's expected of them. They're doing what's expected in America, what's expected as a good citizen, and what's expected of them here in Atascosa County. And that's pretty much what I have to say. But again, I would favor the electronic balloting over the paper ballot. It's efficient, it works. And as long as we have the parameters that we're not having all this stuff that's occurring, I leave it alone for right now. Now, if there was a scad of people coming in, I'd say, let's change it, let's do something. But it's working. And I believe, again, Ms. Rubel's doing a good job. If there's any problems, the sheriff's wandering around out there, around the election place. And I'm just for this electronic ballot thing. I can tell you when, again, I ran for Senate a couple of years ago, and Pete Flores won. I always kid him about that one. But again, we knew by 11 o'clock, I think it was 11:30. That was it. It was done. No crying, no moaning, thank you, shake hands. It's fair and square. And that's what the machine does. It's fair and square. And that's what the county's known for, being fair and square.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Okay, the next person is, I believe it's Hallie Paul. Yes, ma'am. You have 5 minutes, Ms. Paul, it's 9:06.
I'll read it.
No problem. Thank you. That's all right. No, we're
He
good.
has one of mine.
We're good.
My name is Hallie Paul. I've lived in Pleasanton for 42 years. Both my kids graduated from high school here. So I'm very involved and invested in the county and in the city. I'm here to speak in defense of our local election administration and all those volunteers who work tirelessly during the election process. Hand counting ballots in a county that spent thousands to implement state-of-the-art voting machines seems like an answer looking for a problem that simply does not exist in Atascosa County. As Mr. Duncan, the Republican County Chair, pointed out in his column on the 4th, the Secretary of State approves any vendor supplying election equipment for use in the elections in Texas. And by the way, Texas has been held up as an example to follow across the nation. The move to hand counting votes is bad on many levels. I will point out that according to Christina Atkins, the election director at Secretary of State, has made it abundantly clear that hand counting paper ballots will eliminate countywide voting entirely. Not only that, but any change in election policy at the local level must still go through a stringent approval process that includes public hearings and further Secretary of State approvals. And as I pointed out, our present system went through that careful process already. I'm proud that our county has been in the forefront of efficiency and integrity of voting statewide. It's something we should all be proud of. The county spent time and money to implement today's system, which, by the way, provides paper ballots that can be hand counted in case any questions arise. The elimination of countywide voting is also a step backwards. Right now, people have the opportunity to vote at any precinct that is convenient to them. They show their proper IDs and are checked by election workers before being able to vote. That means many working folk can take off an hour or less to get to any polling place that is close to their business and make sure their voice is counted. Before countywide voting, many were unable to exercise that right. In summary, we do not have a problem with elections in Atascosa County. Our workers are well-trained and dedicated, and our system is accurate with transparent redundancy and that cannot be duplicated by hand counting. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, very much. Next is Kathy Coronado. Good morning, Ms. Coronado. How are you this morning? Good deal. You have 5 minutes.
Yes, no problem. Kathy Coronado, I've lived in Pleasanton 40 years now, but of course not a native because you're not 3 or 4 generations. Anyway, I'm here because to reiterate what Hallie said, Ms. Ruppel and her staff do a great job with the elections. I've never seen any issue. In my years with the city of Pleasanton, I did elections myself there for 20 years. And all of us election people, I still count myself even though I'm retired, take that very seriously because voting is pretty much the only way us regular folks have any say over our government at all the different levels. So being able to have fair elections and do the best we can to encourage people to vote, that's our job. Well, not me anymore, but that's the job of election folks. So I'm really impressed that Ms. Ruppel and her staff and all the people that work in our county do such a great job. I appreciate that the county over the years has made it easier. Like Hallie said, we had weekends, we have evenings for early voting, you know, because we're 24/7 society now. People work in all kinds of hours. You got to be able to accommodate them. The oil field guys, they don't have 8 to 5 kind of hours. So we have to be able to let them have their say too, and being able to use all the county polling places makes a big difference. As we said earlier, going back to paper ballots is taking a step backwards. I remember those days. I remember a recount where a sample ballot had been counted and was registered on the official count because somebody didn't know that that yellow ballot did not count. So really, using a system that you've been using already for several years has already proven itself to be efficient and effective. Seems like the way to keep going. I really don't see a purpose in going backwards in this. And paper ballots are available, as I remember, at the polling places for someone who really feels that need. There is one available, and that would be counted, but at least for the general public, because as you well know, your ballot in March is long. It's not like a city ballot with 2 little names. You've got 20 plus races on there. Can you imagine the days it would count to do that by hand? No, please. You have to be realistic. You have to keep using what you've already invested in, what we already know has been working all these years, to keep encouraging people to come vote so that we can have a better society overall. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coronado. Ms. Julie Hilberg, please. Good morning. Five minutes, Ms. Hilberg.
Thank you. I don't think I'll need it, but.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all again, and excuse me, and I seem to be making a habit of being back up here and standing in front of you all. I'm here today to voice my opposition to item 3 on the agenda, and I'm asking you, Commissioners, to vote to uphold our current voting system and vote against moving our county to paper ballots and hand counting the results of our elections. Our elections are very safe and very secure. And I have to thank Janice for that and everybody who works within the elections and the Secretary of State's office. There is a whole myriad of people behind making our elections safe and secure. As many of the commissioners here today know, that when we transition to countywide voting, we now have an electronic voting system with paper ballots as the ballot of record. When somebody turns up in person to vote, their driving license is scanned, they go to a machine and input what their choice is, and then that machine prints their ballot. It's a paper ballot. The machine is nothing more than a printer and a form of inputting their data. They can look at that, they can see, yes, this is what I voted for, and then they go to another machine which tallies and counts the ballots. In other words, the voter makes their decision on how their ballot counts. Our system has inbuilt redundancy, and there are 3 records of our vote. The paper ballot, which is printed after we have made our choices, the ballot image, which is taken when we cast our ballot, and the cast vote record, which is the tally at the end. We have further transparency in that access to cast vote records is immediately available after the canvass, and the ballots are available for inspection 61 days after election day. The reason for that is in case there's any recounts or anything like that. It's a great system that's safe, easy to use, and has inbuilt safeguards and security. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about the implications of moving to hand counting under Chapter 65 of the Election Code. Hand counting is authorized by state law, but is precinct-based with no central count. And I need to reiterate that. It is precinct-based with no central count, meaning once the election is over, everybody has to stay within that precinct, and they have 24 hours to count the ballots. If they do not, it is a Class B misdemeanor. The count is done by the election judge, the alternate judge, and the poll workers. The judge cannot be replaced and has to be on site for the ballot count. The ballot count is done in groups of 3 or 4. One person reads out the name reads out aloud the name on the ballot, and then the vote is tallied. Periodically, the tallies are checked to make sure they agree, and if they don't, then the count has to start again. On a clean ballot, it takes, on average, 6 seconds to read out the candidate's name and for the workers to tally. On a ballot of 20 names, which we're likely to have in March and November, this will take about 2 minutes per ballot. This means, on average, 30 ballots can be counted per hour and 300 ballots counted every 10 hours. Chapter 65 makes it very, very clear that all ballots must be tallied within 24 hours, or, as I said, it is a Class B misdemeanor. The result of moving to paper ballots means that we would have to find polling locations in every precinct district, and these polling locations would have to be willing to let people work throughout the night and be there the next day as well to count the ballots. We would also need to recruit people who are willing to do that, and we're going to need a lot of people. And then also, it's going to be increased costs on the county because we're going to have to pay them to work all this extra up to 24 hours after the poll has closed. It would be chaos. We have to re-educate people. We have to re-educate the voters who are so used to our great safe system that we have. We would have to re-educate candidates at the state, local, and federal level. Hand counting has a lot of challenges. There are no safeguards, and it is also subject to legal challenges when the polls finally close. We have a perfectly good and safe system, and I'm asking you to vote against hand counting. Keep us where we are. Don't take us back to where we were, and keep our elections safe, transparent, and accessible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hulu. The next we have is Sharon, is it Roof or Root?
Root.
Yes, ma'am. How are you today?
Preaching.
Yes, ma'am.
Not doing this for sympathy. My back out.
Good morning, Ms. Root. You have 5 minutes, ma'am.
Wanna take me to
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
here I am. My name is Sharon Root. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am the current president of the Atascosa McMullen Retired School Personnel, the local chapter of the Texas Retired Teacher Association, TRTA. With me today is Ann Smelly, our chapter secretary. We are here today to ask the Commissioners Court and everyone present for support of Proposition 9 in the November election. This proposition would give some retired Texas educators, paraprofessionals, superintendents, janitors, custodians, anyone who is a TRS annuitant, a much-needed cost of living adjustment. There has not been a cost of living adjustment for the past 20 years. Please know that there are retirees in Atascosa County whose only pension is from TRS, the Teacher Retirement System, and it is less than $1,000 a month. Proposition 9 won't create a tax increase. All the funds have been allocated from the surplus in the sales tax collection. Both houses of the Texas legislature voted unanimously to use a part of these funds for a COLA for retired school personnel. While the money to fund the COLA exceeds the spending cap set by the state constitution, the money is already there, but it just needs voter approval. Retirees will receive a modest increase. Some of us get 2% on our base salary, some 4%, some 6%, depending on when they retired. But that's enough for a while to buy groceries and medicine and not have to make a decision. Do I have medicine or do I have groceries? Do I pay the local electric bill and can I support the local economy? In fact, in Atascosa County, the 988 annuitants pumped $22.5 million into the local community. 1 in every 20 Texans is a member of the teacher retirement system. Active teachers will benefit from your support as their retirement will be secured and maintained. They need to know that they will be taken care of by the state. Someone you know is a retiree, a family member, a neighbor, a friend. A COLA is very important because 95% of retirees, me included, do not receive Social Security benefits because of two federal programs, the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset, which deny work and survivor benefits to TRS pensioners. Please support the COLA on Prop 9 with the resolution that I gave to Judge Coode. The resolution says, whereas no public school retiree since September 1, 2004 has ever received a cost of living adjustment, or COLA, whereas most retired Texas teachers are not eligible to receive Social Security benefits. Therefore, a teacher retirement system, TRS pension, is the primary source of income. Whereas the COLA will not create a tax increase because the 88th Texas Legislature has already set aside funds to make this happen with voter approval. Whereas Texas public school educators, superintendents, central office personnel, principals, teachers, teachers' aides, counselors, school nurses, librarians, secretaries, clerks, custodians, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, and maintenance personnel, both active and personnel, are 1 in 20 Texans and have devoted their lives to the education of children of Texas. Therefore, be it resolved that the Atascosa County Commissioners Court supports the Texas Retired Teacher Association, TRTA, and the passage of Prop 9. We have given out information cards. We have more, and we will be more than happy to give them to you to pass along to help us. I also have yard signs at my house if you want to put a yard sign up, just FYI. Please, please vote yes for Prop 9. Okay, from what I understand, there has not been any negative talk on social media about Prop 9. The money is there. All you got to do is say yes. Okay? Thank you for your time and your consideration, and I hope you all have a good day.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so very much. We appreciate it.
I've been retired 19 years. So we same money that I got the day I retired 19 years. Still get me paid for my Medicare. I'll get 4%. Yeah.
Okay. We appreciate you bringing this forward to our attention. Thank you.
Thank you
We
very
can't
much.
take any action on this because it's not an action item. So we can't take any action on the resolution because it's not an action item on our
Oh,
agenda.
Okay.
If you want to get back with the county court coordinator and get it back on the next agenda for action, that would be just fine.
Okay. So day late.
Yeah, we don't have any, it's not an action item for us to take any action on. So
Okay.
you're allowed to present it today, but if you want to put it back on the agenda, you're more than welcome, okay?
So the next meeting is not till November 7th,
No.
the 20th of October?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we can give it to you? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Pardon me. Pitifully. This is not a setup.
Yes, no, ma'am, we understand. Understand, everybody has a passion, and we respect that.
No worries, mate. And
Thank-
this is the, I know we're taking too much time.
Yes, ma'am,
Thank y'all.
thank you. Okay, the next item we have is Tommy Dickinson. Discuss or take appropriate action concerning election integrity, the Texas Election Code. Move Atascosa County Commissioners Court to adopt Title VI, Chapter 65 of the Texas Election Code for hand-marked, hand-counted paper ballots. Before you proceed, we met as the election board. We discussed all this, and we agreed to let you put this on the agenda for open discussion and transparency. We want everybody to understand where we're at. But the election board's suggesting that we stay like we are at the present time.
Okay.
Okay, I want everybody to understand that we're interested, we're listening, but as of transparency, we want everybody to see what's going on and her passion for this. And some of us other have passions toward it too, but we will probably not take any action on this today.
I
okay?
understand.
All right, thank you.
Hi, my name's Tommy Dickinson. I am a resident taxpayer of Atascosa County. I'm also a proud 1990 Jordanton High School alumni. And so not only do my children and I and my husband live here, we also run a small business. The information that I'm going to provide to you today has been gathered by thousands of Texans throughout the state that we've all worked together. We've done Freedom of Information Acts, private information requests, and this is all the information that we've been able to gather. For a little bit of background, the Help America Vote Act was enacted in 2002, and it established the Election Assistance Commission, referred to as the EAC. The EAC, under federal statute 52 USC, develops the Voting System Test Laboratory Accreditation Program. And these two, there's only 2 labs currently that the EAC recognizes under them. And that's Pro V&V and SLI compliance. We're going to focus on Pro V&V because that's the lab that actually did the testing for the system that Atascosa County uses. Okay, now the VISTLs, they're responsible, as I said, for testing all of these different voting systems that we use throughout the country, not just in the state of Texas. So we're going to jump then into the Texas Election Code, okay? The Texas Election Code 122, it specifically states these systems may not be used in any elections unless it complies with the standards adopted by the EAC. Texas Administrative Code 8160 says it must provide nationally accredited voting system test laboratory reports in order to get certified for the state of Texas. In 81.61, shall have been certified by a national recognized testing laboratory. That's going to be the EAC testing labs. There's no other labs. Now, for the EAC, they're charged with providing this program, right? They have to give this manual out. And the scope of the manual is to provide the procedural requirements of the EAC for these to accredit these laboratories. This is the certification in order to test this software. The EAC strictly requires adherence to their own procedural requirements. Texas Election Code and Administrative Code further strengthen those requirements by codifying it into Texas law since 1998. So now we can just pretty much make this clear. This is a requirement. It has to be done. Now, we're going to jump again into the VISTL accreditation and my issues with looking at it, with researching it, and having FOIA the information from the EAC. So in 2021, me and all my friends started looking into all of this. The manual explains, in order for these labs to achieve accreditation, they have criteria that they have to meet. One of them is that it has to have a signature by the chairman of the commission. 2, it has to have an expiration date. The EAC chairman, he serves 1 year. That person serves 1 year, but their signature on these certifications are good for 2. Why is this important? Because the certification for Pro V&V was issued in February of 2015. It expired in February of 2017. That's what we used. Once we started FOIAing and just basically letting the Secretary of State know, the Attorney General's office, our state legislatures, all of a sudden, in July of 2022, we start getting these memos from the EAC, and we also get a new accreditation that is now showing up online. And it is dated, and I believe you have a copy of it, it is dated from February of 2015, and now the new date is February of 2021. Obviously, this does not fall compliances of that manual. So that's issue number one. Issue number two, the signature on those are by the executive directors at the EAC, not the chairman. Issue number three, when we received this memo, one of the reasons that they gave us for the certifications not being in compliance is that COVID-19 was the reason. Pro V&V expired in 2017. This is long before COVID was a problem. So that excuse falls flat. The issue number four, they give us an administrative error. The EAC further claims that the reason for the failure to issue and update certification for 2 years was due to administrative errors. What they don't tell you is that they did not have 4 commissioners on their court. They could not hold quorum in a whole year of 2018 until 2 new commissioners were appointed in 2019. That's when they could restore quorum. But then they still did not issue new certificates of accreditation. They did not attempt to do that until 2021. Reason number 5. They then turn around and say that they are invoking 52 USC section 20971C2. Basically, they're saying that the EAC has not revoked the accreditation, so it should be fine. In legal terms, to revoke is to take away, not extend. Can you imagine if I'm driving down the road with an expired driver's license and Sheriff Stallworth pulled me over and I said, "No problems, the state hasn't revoked my license, we're good." I don't think he's going to accept that. I guess now we can all see the irony in this, that they have now come out with a new version. The expiration date is gone, but the requirement for the chairman to sign it is not. And guess what? The chairman didn't sign it. And the other problem is that accreditation, they will not start testing under that certificate until next month. And if anybody knows, it takes about 18 months from the time the EAC labs test it till it gets down to the state of Texas and they certify it before you even get it on your systems. That's a problem. It's illegal. Now, we can get into the ESS issues, the hash verification. In September of 2020, the state inspector for the Secretary of State's office conducted a certification and testing process for ES&S. On this, he found that there was hash verification problems. This is the process in which the information is verified. Election Advisory 2019-23, jurisdictions are required to perform a complete system verification, including those verification hashes. That's not what was happening. ES&S was coming out and completing those verifications. So the jurisdiction was not completing that. I'm not saying that happened here because
Ma'am. Please.
I'm not saying that that has happened here. My issue here is not that I'm saying that Janice is not running her elections right or that the county isn't. That's not what I'm saying. This is not a Democrat problem. This is not a Republican problem. This is a voter problem. And this is very important to me, the same as it is for everybody else here, even those that want the machines, because we honor our vote and we respect our civil duty to go out and proceed with that vote. And I want what everybody else wants in here. I want to cast my ballot and I want it to be counted as intended. In the case of ES&S, EVS 6.0.3.0 examination, ESNS personnel were conducting the verification and validation of these hash validations. This has constituted a conflict of interest and effectively negated the entire process. The bug that was reported during the testing, yet the hash value of the software version was still matching the hash from the vendor, where like the bug did not exist. Basically, your hash is like a fingerprint. If it is not matching, it should not go through. But that's not what was happening. It was saying it wasn't matching, but the system was still pushing it through. This went so far as the examiner literally putting on the examination that they will not certify another ES&S software that comes through their office until they fix this problem, which they have not to this day. We're going to move on to the federal government in our election system. In 2018, the former Director of Elections, Keith Ingram, testified before the Texas Senate Select Committee on the election security. He stated that Texas had been participating in a federal pilot program with the Department of Homeland Security. This involved adding a DHS-created Albert sensor on our voter roll registration at a state level. Ingram requested that the legislature authorize the Texas Secretary of State to implement cybersecurity rules, advisories, and best practices of state. The Texas legislature then passed Texas Election Code 279 in 2019, which provided sweeping powers for the Secretary of State. According to Texas Election Code 279.003D, a county election officer shall implement cybersecurity measures to ensure that all devices with access to election data comply to the highest extent possible with the rules adopted by the Secretary of State under 279.002, which would include the Secretary of State's best practices. Excuse me. Per Election Advisory 2020-04, the Best Practices Guide was developed by reviewing county election offices' aggregated findings from the election security assessments and the election security documentation published by the Center of Internet Security, better known as CIS, the Belfer Center, and the National Institute for Standards of Technology. Yet the SOS only provides one source to monitor those threats, and that is going to be the monitoring continuous link threats by the Center of Internet Security, CIS, and the Albert sensor. That basically means that if the county has to apply cybersecurity, you have one source, DHS, under CIS with an Albert sensor monitor at our county level. There is no refuting that. I have the contracts from several counties. I just want to say that I am very proud of Justin Vasquez and the fact that he refused to sign up for this program. But the concern is still there. 279 requires it. And if the Secretary of State decides that they want to push this, this is where you're headed. This is where we're all headed. And that leaves several questions. Who can DHS share our personal private information with that's on the voter rolls? Right now, they're with the Department of Transportation. They share that information with the Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, ODNI. The list is long. My point is this: DHS cannot by presidential executive order impose election laws or enforce federal authority over any state. HR 1 for the People Act of 2021 that went through Congress was supposed to expand this. The voter registration, automatic same-day registration, and voter access, voter by mail, and early voting. It also removed voters from the voter rolls. Additionally, the bill said previously related to election security, including sharing intelligence information with state election officials, supporting states in securing their systems, developing national strategy to protect U.S. domestic institutions. And it just goes on and on. Congress rejected this in 2021. If Congress rejected it, why are we implementing it in Texas? Article 1, Section 4 of the Constitution makes it clear that only the legislatures of the state have authority to amend or nullify our election statutes. The Texas legislature did not authorize the Department of Homeland Security to monitor our elections. Non-legislative changes to the state election laws are violations of Article 1, Section 4 of our U.S. Constitution. Our personal identifiable information cannot be disclosed. Texas courts have held that the disclosure of the birth information constitutes a clearly unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. So these are my questions. How many government agencies have access already to our voter rolls at the state level? How many at the county level? How many privately owned companies have access to the voter rolls? How many nonprofit NGOs have access? Who has access to our electronic management system? The poll books. Why adopt a system that requires an extensive monitoring infrastructure on top of the already cumbersome certification and accreditation process? Why adopt a system that obviously costs taxpayers more money to secure it? Why allow the Secretary of State to tell us that the federal government has a right to monitor our elections? Because right now where you are sitting, they are the sole source for it. And why am I here today? Texas Election Code 123 gives the county the authorization to be able to choose what election system that you use. In quick closing, y'all are my neighbors. A lot of you I went to school with. My kids have gone to school with your kids. We want transparency. How do we get that? Who has the software to look at how everything is being counted? The state doesn't. And you can't look at it because your contract says as soon as Justin or anybody else opens it up and tries to look at that software or those codes, you lose all warranty and you're liable for suit. But there is one thing that you can do if you want to find out the truth. Somebody send a constitutional question to the Attorney General's office and ask him. Because I can tell you right now, all the information I'm giving you is sitting in 30 courts in the state of Texas, one in the Texas Supreme Court. There's 4 federal cases sitting in the 5th Circuit on appeal. I know I'm on one of them. The information that I'm giving you is just a piece. I have more. Not only did the Secretary of State give you these sweeping laws with DHS, they're also part of the lawsuit, Biden versus Missouri. The censorship, Keith Ingram sat in on these meetings. He knows about it. They gave me the emails. I have his calendar. This is more than just electronic voting systems. This is infringing on every portion of our election infrastructure. And the only way to get it out is to get the machines out. Thank you.
Ms. Dickinson, I appreciate it with your presentation this morning, and I want you to know we all have a passion for election integrity. I think every one of us do. And again, if we did anything, there's no way we could do it before this election. We've got to finish this one we have coming up and look to the future. But I appreciate your presentation. And we discussed this, and we've talked about paper ballots, we've talked about counting with machines, we've talked about several things. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We appreciate, I, I understand. And I want to thank you. I wish other people had passions like you have for certain causes. We all want to make sure that our votes count, and then we all want to make sure that there's honesty in the system. I mean, that's a big issue, especially after the last general election. So please understand that we're going to move forward, and we're not telling you no. We're going to look at the system all the way through. At the next, maybe election meeting that the board has, we'll discuss it again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your passion. Number 4, Justin Vasquez, you snuck around the room on us. Discuss or take appropriate action upgrading audio-visual system for Commissioners Court, accepting the quote from San Antonio Sound and Light in the amount of $42,653.23, and authorizing the county judge to sign the agreement.
Good morning.
Vasquez, good morning.
We did some extensive research into the audio-visual for the remodel of the Commissioner's Courtroom. San Antonio Sound and Light was able to really work with us and get us what we think we need for that room to be efficient in streaming, recording, and just all overall presentation. And it came out to that figure, and we're pretty happy with it.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I admire Justin on this. We talked to 5 or 6 different companies, and this is also the company that did McMullen County. And
Medina.
The first proposal they gave us was like 3 times this number.
Yeah.
And we whittled on them and beat on them and changed up some stuff. And we believe that this is the right one to go with, and they believe that they can get this within our time frame that we're looking at. So we need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Bowen. Seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Number 5, Brittany Van Kuren, discuss or take appropriate action concerning accepting the contract services with Edward Newman for off-site sewage director services. Good morning.
Good morning. This is the second contract DR that we will have on kind of in our back pocket as needed as we go through the transition, and even still into the future if we ever need somebody to kind of fill the gap. That's what he's going to be.
Is there a motion to the, motion made by Commissioner Pettis,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Bowen. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Van Kuren. Number 6, discuss or take appropriate action adopting the Atascosa County subdivision fee schedule changes. These changes will go into effect effective January 1st, 2024. And before we get into that, we looked at these fee schedules and we looked at everything and we compared to other counties. And I got to give Ms. Van Kuren credit. She really did a lot of research on this, and we want to give the developers time to realize where the changes come. That's why we picked January 1 as the date. So, do you have anything to add?
No, sir, just bringing some fees before you for your approval to be changed, updated.
Sir, motion made by Commissioner Pettis, seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion passes. Number 7, Brittany Van Kuren, discuss or take appropriate action concerning adopting the Atascosa County subdivision payment design guide changes effective immediately. Ms. Van Kuren.
Yes, sir. So you will see, you will have in your packets both the current and the proposed pavement design guides. What we have done, you'll mostly see the changes on the current page. I have them highlighted for you. We have removed the section on subgrade treatment stabilization and then made some small changes to the mechanically stabilized layers. We are including, or rather, the way our current standards are written, they do not allow for the structural credit to be given to any of the geogrid material. So we are removing that to allow for structural credit to be given to geogrid, as those are some very good roads that are put together with geogrid. So we do not want to discredit that, and we want to encourage that in our new subdivision roads that are coming.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Bowen. Seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Number 8, Brittany Van Kuren, discuss or take appropriate action concerning adopting Atascosa County subdivision ordinances, change removing number 4.5 effective immediately.
Yes, sir. This was a special limited exemption that was put into the original subdivision ordinance by a very specific developer for a very specific requirement, one point in time in history is what I'm understanding. So we're just trying to clean up the ordinance as we're moving through, and this is one of the pieces that we'd like to remove as it's not relevant.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis. Seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion on this item? All those in favor? That motion passes. Number 9, Brittany Van Kuren, discuss or take appropriate action concerning adopting the Atascosa County Master Development Plan guidelines and application effective immediately. Did we want to do this one immediately?
Yes, sir, we did. I have several developers that have already been asking me about our procedures and policies for this. So if I can hand it back and say, here's our policy, because we don't have anything currently in place.
Okay.
This will allow us to, it will allow developers to bring us a master development plan of a full subdivision with multiple units. Anything with 2 or more units will be required to go through a master development plan process. That will have a separate fee to it. It will come before Commissioners Court for approval, and then so long as they continue to develop the subdivision within 5 years, this master development plan stays valid. So it kind of grandfathers them in if we ever decide to increase our lot size minimum, or if we ever widen our roadway requirements, or whatever the case may be. It allows them to stay grandfathered to the original plan that they had in place when they purchased and started developing the property. And you'll see here, this is.
Seconded by Commissioner Pettis. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Item number 10, Brittany Van Kuren, discuss, take appropriate action concerning personnel, new employee, Maria Levine, administrative assistant at tier 2, $18.26 per hour. Salary budget area 012-472-407. Drug test is pending. Start date will be today.
Yes, sir. Ms. Levine comes in with more than 20 years' experience in the Bexar County Sheriff's Office in their HR coordinator position. She is more than qualified, and I'm happy to have her join my team.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis. Seconded by Commissioner Riley. This is, we want to replacing Joe, right?
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Van Kuren.
Thank you so much.
Number 11, Laura Pavelic, discuss or take appropriate action concerning accepting the revised sick leave pool program policy. Okay.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
In this past year, we've looked at several things within our policy manual and made some revisions. And this is one of the things that was talked about, but it never actually made it to Commissioners Court to get approved, and it's to revise our sick leave policy. The current sick leave policy we have today is you have to donate in the month of November, and that's why it's important for us to look at this today and decide whether we want to keep the old one or if we want to go with the new one that's recommended. But today, how it works is Anna will go out with a notice with the October paychecks, and if you want to donate to the sick leave pool, you just have to donate however many hours, and you have no control or no say over who it might go to. This new one is to put in place will allow us to do the same thing if someone has a serious illness or catastrophic illness, but it'll allow you to donate to who you want to versus you just putting your hours in. I asked them to include a copy of this behind the request, so if you had the chance to review it, you can. But basically, it talks about medical or bereavement situation. It talks about ineligible situations, a common cold, minor surgery, paternity or maternity leave, because we already allow for that, is not involved. It talks about the eligibility to donate. Full-time employees who have at least 80 hours or less of sick leave can request it. It has to be a medical diagnosis requiring a prolonged absence from work, such as cancer, surgery, serious accident, heart attack, personal emergency, death of an immediate family member. Now, we do have personnel leave, which is 3 days, but sometimes if it may require longer than 3 days if you have to do some paperwork or follow up. So that would be also eligible. And all paid benefit leave must already be exhausted. To be able to donate, you need to be a full-time employee, you must have 120 hours or more, and you must maintain at least 80 hours of your own, because we don't want you to donate all of yours and then have to ask for some more. The donations are strictly voluntary. You do have to present the FMLA paperwork or proper documentation notating reason for the leave. And you must exhaust all other means of your paid leave prior to receiving the donation. And then it talks about the process, which would involve my office, as the current process does. You would contact my office and present your paperwork. We'll review it to make sure it does meet all these requirements. The county treasurer's office will provide additional evidence as needed after the application is received. And we'll go out and make sure that both the ones asking and the ones donating meet the requirements. Once it's approved, we'll send out a mass notification asking the whole county if you're interested in donating, for this person. And this person, there are HIPAA regulations, but this person's saying we're allowing our name to be given because we have a need. And then we'll distribute the numbers donated, and we'll keep track of that. And they will have to have a release from a doctor before they can return to work. That basically is the program. Then we attached a Atascosa County donation request form and a sick donation form. And I did ask, and Trent remembers reviewing it, and we did go over this. So in the meantime, do you have any questions? And I really support this. I think this is the better way to go because it allows the employees to not just voluntarily donate to a sick leave pool that doesn't have any control. This way, if you have a friend or if it's in your office, you can donate based on what you feel like.
But you can donate to anybody in the county. Right?
To anybody, yes. My office will go out and say, we have a request for this person who has a catastrophic or a medical requirement that's going to require a long time, and so we're asking for anyone that they're not going to have enough sick leave, and they will have had to use all of their paid leave, so they're not going to go out and request leave when they have their own. But sometimes some of these illnesses require more than you have. And it's not necessarily that it has to be used all at once, but as we know, with chemo treatments, you may be sick for 2 or 3 days and then you're able to come back to work for a little while. You still have to, if you're the person that's sick, you still have to work 80 hours a month, as our policy says, before you can pick up any more sick leave, which is only 12 hours. So this will cover a lot of people for some serious illness. And it basically, I think, is a better choice than just the sick leave pool we have in force today. Any other questions?
I move for approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis, seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Pavelek. And your next item is number 12, Laura Pavelek, discuss or take appropriate action concerning approving publication of the 2023 Treasury Report in order to Pleasant Express newspaper countywide website.
This one requires a lot less talking.
So
I
moved.
just request your approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Bowen,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Pettis. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, it's customary that we take a break after an hour, so we're going to take a 5-minute break at this time and come back in 5 minutes. It is 10:06 and we're, oh, all right. It's okay. 10:06 and we're back, court is back in session. And the next item is number 13, Becky James, discuss or take appropriate action concerning personnel. New employee Eric Chambers, investigator, $44,000 per year. Salary budget area 012-488-403. Drug test is pending. Start date will be November 1. Good morning.
Good morning. I am not Miss James. She's at UT doing a career fair for the public defender's office there.
Sure.
And Miss Brown is in court in Frio District Court, so I was nominated to come. He is coming in under budget at the 44,000. I think budget is at 48. We currently have 2 investigators. He will be the second one and will fill both of those spots.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Pettis,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Bowen. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Next is new employee Hillary Kustoff, attorney, assistant public defender, $82,000 per year. Salary budget area is 012-488-403. Drug test is pending. Start date will be tomorrow.
Yes. So we actually had an attorney leave. She was pregnant, and she decided to no longer work here because she lives out of town. So Ms. Kustoff will take her spot.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Riley,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Pettis. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Existing employee James Heath, position attorney, assistant public defender, pay rate $70,000 a year. I guess he got his bar license in?
Correct. He passed
Okay.
got his bar results in and passed.
Salary budget area 012-488-403. Physical drug test not applicable. Start date of that salary will be today.
Correct. So he got his bar results last week, and I do believe Judge Brindell is swearing him in either today or tomorrow.
Congratulations, just what
Yes.
this world needs, another attorney.
Yes, I agree.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Bowen. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries.
Thank you.
very much. Next item is Courtney Greer, discuss or take appropriate action personnel. I understand the first one's out.
Yes.
Okay, second is new employee Michael Decker, paramedic, $12.06 per hour. Salary budget area 041-400-518. Drug test is pending. Start date will be the 12th.
Yes, sir. We are trying to hire on, we only have one temp paramedic right now. So when paramedics try to take off for sick leave or vacation, we're having to have other paramedics fill and work overtime to fill their spots. So we're trying to build that pool up.
Right, this is a temporary paramedic, right? Correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Bowen. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Next item, new employee Evan Tipton, temporary EMT, $12.60 per hour. Salary budget area is 041-400-518. Drug test is pending. Start date on it will be the 12th of October.
Yes, sir. We're building up that pool of temporary to fill in for everybody. And also when we talked about bringing on that 5th truck, we'll have people. I know Mr. Tipton and Mr. Decker, their drug and physical have been completed since I submitted this.
Motion made by Commissioner Riley,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Pettis. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Greer. We appreciate you. Number 15, Janice Rupel, discuss or take appropriate action to approve workers for the November 7th, 2023 election. Good morning, Ms.
Good
Rupel.
morning.
How are you?
Good. These are the workers we're going to have for November. We just need to get them approved. Has anybody seen an issue with any of them?
All right, do y'all have any questions on the list?
And we do have changes sometimes, so
Right.
it just happens if somebody's ill or whatever could happen.
Yeah, it should be in it. This purple. Sorry. You just see, yeah. Keep going. Keep it little right there, start right there. Be the next 4 pages. Okay, any questions on the election day workers?
Do you have a list of other ones that, in case you don't have?
We do have other people, well, a few, but we do, or if not, somebody will usually come up with one, so. We're actually having training on the 11th and, well, tomorrow and the next day, at the library for the, we have several new ones that we've gotten, and so we're trying to work them here in November when it's an easier election, and then they're ready, well, they're not really ready maybe, but for the primary.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis, seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rupel. Number 16, Martin Gonzalez. Discuss and take appropriate action concerning presenting the Plus Tex Movie Theater, Henson Theaters, the Texas Treasure Business Award awarded by the Texas Historical Commission. Good morning, Mr. Gonzalez.
Morning, Commissioners and Judge. How are y'all? Some of our historical commission members.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
got Mr. Hinton here, the owner of the Plex Movie Theater.
Good morning. Morning.
And what we're doing here is this is the Texas Treasure Business Award. So the qualifications for the Texas Treasure Business Award to be nominated for the state of Texas is the business has to be in continuous operation for 50 years or more. That the business is a for-profit business, that it's an independent business, and the business has continuously offered the same or similar services over its lifetime. There is a special recognition award, but this will not be for the Plex Movie Theater, and that's for 50 plus of family-owned business. So it does qualify. It did get awarded through the state of Texas Historical Commission.
Okay. We appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Need a motion to accept this?
Yes, sir. And I just want to say that prior to this, the county only has 3. Hurley Funeral Home, Center Pharmacy, and Pleasanton Express.
Oh, wow.
This would be the 4th one.
Congratulations. I
Yes,
think that's a great
yes, sir.
honor. We appreciate that. Motion made by Commissioner Riley,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Bowen. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Want to get a picture?
Yes.
Why don't y'all think we can get right here behind us, or how you want to make this? Think of
Jack? Jack?
Oh, this side.
Ready, Bowen? Got it? Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Free popcorn, right? Okay, number 17, Tim Gutierrez, discuss or take appropriate action concerning personnel. Existing employee, Brandon Carroll, Juvenile Supervision Officer, Tier 1, pay rate $47,250 annually. Be $39,3750 monthly. Salary budget area is 039-400-562. Physical drug tests are not applicable. Start date is today. Morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. These 4 officers, we're going to be going ahead and making a motion to go ahead and tier them up. They have gone above and beyond the call of duty. They clock in a little bit of extra hours. They try to help out with the facility and try to maintain it, even when it's not necessarily their job description. I wanted to reward them for that.
Okay. Yep.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis, seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item, so the next 3 identical? Next 2.
From Kimberly all the way to Flores will be a tier up.
Okay, because we have a different budget area on, we have
Yes.
139 versus 039.
Correct. So the next 2 will be the
Okay, so
same.
the next 2, Kimberly Regalado and Richelle Santos, Juvenile Supervision Officer, Tier 2, $45,250 annually. 3770, monthly. Salary budget area 039-400-562. Physical and drug test not applicable. Start date be today on both these people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the same exact thing where we do want to tier them up and everything of the sorts. Like I said before, they have been helping out quite a bit.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Bowen. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Next one is existing employee Kienia Flores, Juvenile Supervision Officer, Tier 2, $45,250 annually, 3770, monthly. Salary budget area 139-400-403. Physical and drug test not applicable. Start date is today.
Same thing for this one. The only difference is that it's coming from our post budget.
Okay.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis. Seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Next is existing employee Amber Nicole Macias, Juvenile Supervision Officer, Tier 3, $43,250 annually. That's $3604.16 monthly. Salary budget area 039-400-562. Physical and drug test not applicable. Start date will be the 17th.
Yes, sir. For this one does have a slight error. This will be a new employee that we'll be hiring, so she will be pending the drug test. Everything else is accurate.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Bowen.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Pettis. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. New employee Jason Victor Hernandez, Juvenile Supervision Officer, Tier 3, pay rate to be $43,250 annually, which is $3604.16 monthly. Salary budget area 039-400-562. Physical and drug test are pending. Start date will be the 17th.
Yes, sir. We're just trying to bolster our numbers right now. We are a little bit low in staffing, but I think this should help out a little bit more.
We have a motion. Motion made by Commissioner Bowen, seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Give me a call later.
Got you,
Talk
boss.
about something. Thank you. Sheriff Sauer, number 18, discuss and take appropriate action concerning personnel. New employee Christian Sanchez, Corrections Officer, pay rate Tier 3, $44,217 annually, $171 fluctuating, $120 monthly uniform, $150 holiday pay, 90-day county probation, 1-year agency probation. Salary budget area 012-442-562. Physical and drug tests are pending. The start date will be the 16th. Good morning, Sheriff.
Morning. Hiring a new correction officer, Christian Sanchez. Be starting on the 16th. Physical and drug tests have been taken, pending results. At salary and benefits stated in the agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis, seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. New employee Addie Cunningham, Corrections Officer, Tier 2, $46,217 annually, $171 fluctuating, $120 a month uniform allowance, $150 a month holiday pay, 90-day county probation, 1-year agency probation. Salary budget area 012-442-562. Physical and drug tests are pending. Start date will be the 16th.
Yes, hiring Addie Cunningham as new correction officer. Tier 2 salary. She already has her state license. Physical and drug test pending results. Effective date is October 16th.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis, seconded by Commissioner Bowen. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Number 19, Sheriff Sauer, discuss and take appropriate action to approve payment of $467 to Daniel Corus for property damage during a law enforcement pursuit under Section 683.015F of the Texas Transportation Code.
Again, we've done these before, approving $467 for fence damage during a pursuit.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Bowen,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Pettis. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Item B, discuss or take appropriate action to approve payment of $600 to the A.M. Peter Ranch for property damage during a law enforcement pursuit under Section 683.015F of the Texas Transportation Code.
Same thing, approve $600 to the A.M. Peeler Ranch for fence damage during a law enforcement pursuit.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis, seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Item C, discuss or take appropriate action to approve payment of $2,000 to EOG Resources for property damage during law enforcement pursuit under Section 683.015F of the Texas Transportation Code. Sheriff?
Approving $2,000 to EOG Resources for extensive fence damage during a law enforcement pursuit.
I guess Wallfield's wages are a little higher than Ranches.
No, they just did more
damage?
more damage.
All right, is there a motion? Motion made by Commissioner Pettis.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Bowen. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Item D, discuss or take appropriate action to approve payment of $348.50 to Carol Roby for property damage during law enforcement pursuit under Section 683.015F of the Texas Transportation Code. Sheriff?
Yes, I approved $348.50 that qualified for fence damage and reimbursement to Roby under due to a law enforcement pursuit.
Motion made by Commissioner Riley. Seconded by Commissioner Pettis. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Item E, discuss or take appropriate action to approve payment of $100 to Pete Herrera for property damage during law enforcement pursuit under Section 683.015F of the Texas Transportation Code.
Same here, approved $100 to Pete Herrera for damage to a fence during law enforcement pursuit.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Bowens. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Item F, discuss or take appropriate action to approve payment of $612 to Larry Wheeler for property damage during law enforcement pursuit under 683.015F of the Texas Transportation Code. Sheriff?
Yes, I approved $612 Larry Wheeler for damage that qualified due to a law enforcement pursuit.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Riley.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Pettis. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Item G, discuss or take appropriate action to approve payment of $2,541 to Robert Brabach for property damage during law enforcement pursuit under Section 683.015F of the Texas Transportation Code.
Again, approved this amount to Mr. Brabach for extensive damage caused on his fences during a law enforcement pursuit.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis. Seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries.
Judge, these have stacked up over the last 3 months or so. We ran out of funds, and then with the sheriff's auction, the excess abandoned motor vehicle funds from the auction replenished the fund.
Okay, good deal.
Yes. Oh, no, it's not. None of it is. None of it is.
Thank you. I'm glad y'all were able to find this out. It's not these people's fault that it happens in circumstances that we come across. Item 20, Commissioner Pettis, discuss or take appropriate action concerning a road boring on County Road 314 North. The length of the road bore will be 43.20 feet. The pipe will be a 6-inch SDR poly inside a 12-inch metal casing with a depth of 5 foot, 11 inches deep. BB Soutex LLC is the company that's requesting the bore permit. Winnie Land and Minerals is issuing the check number 11,006, the amount of $500. Check's been turned over to the Treasurer's Office. Commissioner?
Thank you, Judge. I've met with Mr. Winnie and talked it over with him, and he's agreed to our standards, so I move for approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis, seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Commissioner Riley, I think we're going to pass on yours. Okay. Number 22, Trent Rao, discuss or take appropriate action to appoint Jose Ramirez Commissioner for the Atascosa County Emergency Service District Number 1 to fill the vacancy board position created by resignation of Commissioner David Ray. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, this is just to fill a vacancy on the ESD board, and this is a recommendation by that board and that chief. I think they've, got a good person there, and that's what they're recommending.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Bowen, seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion on this item? All those in favor? The motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Rowell. Number 23, Auditor Tracy Brewer, discuss or take appropriate action concerning approval of disbursement of pretrial diversion funds as authorized by Article 102.0121 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure and approval of a check to be written from the pretrial miscellaneous fund line item 053-400-625 in the amount of $10,500 for fiscal year 2024 first quarter payment for services provided by Atascosa County by the CSCD. What is that?
Adult probation.
Okay. As specified in the interlocal agreement, payment will be released after Trent Rowell, the County Attorney's Office, has approved it. Good morning.
He approved it. This is what we do quarterly. It's the same thing.
Okay.
And I always verify that the funds are there, that we've brought those funds in, and they're plenty.
Sounds good to me. Motion made by Commissioner Riley.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Bowen. Is there any further discussion on this item? All those in favor? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 24, Auditor Tracy Brewer, discuss or take appropriate action on approving the payment of $23,274.60 to the Bear Financial Equipment Services, the first draw of Atascosa County Tax Office drive-through window transaction drawer project. This payment will allow Bear Financial Equipment Services to start the process of the new window and audio installation. The project was budgeted and will be charged to capital outlay at 012-468-707. Ms. Brewer?
Yes, anytime that there's a request for funds up front, I always bring it to Commissioner's Court because I don't normally pay until items are delivered and/or work has been done. The total project on this is $38,791, and they're asking for $23,274.60, and I'm asking for approval to release that.
Is that to buy some of the material?
This is the window. They're going to have to redo that whole thing, and I think it's specific on the measurements to try to get it exactly. So before they make this window or do all of that, they want the monies up front. So because if it's not like a standard all size, what is that? How do you say that? All size. One size fits all. That's what I was thinking. That's right. That's the big bucks.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Bowen. Is there any further discussion on this item? All those in favor? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 25, Auditor Tracy Brewer, discuss or take appropriate action concerning issuing payment of outstanding Hurley Funeral Home invoices. Invoices are for the transport, and the total amount outstanding is $4,270. Ms. Brewer?
Okay. I've held these invoices since January because we pay for a pauper that's been approved, and the county picks up that. These were transports from a JP called, from a site, wherever it is, if it's an accident or at the hospital or whatever, to pick up the body. So they charge us for a transport. If Hurley's handles the funeral, they don't charge us the transport. They handle it through with the family. If the family takes the body elsewhere for the funeral, then they turn around and charge us the $425, and they say it's because our JP called. Now, this has been a hot topic for a long time, and we've gone back and forth and back and forth. We've met with them. We've met with the JPs. I don't know if the JPs are specifying to the families that they're responsible for this. Probably not, since it's all coming to the county. Again, this has been a big discussion. He's requesting that we pay them what we owe them and come up with some sort of an agreement moving forward. But
Let me add to this.
Go ahead.
We've had discussions about this, and this has been the practice for 20-something years. There was supposed to be a memorandum of understanding that was adopted back in September of last year, October? September, I think it was. And we looked for it, we couldn't find it. And you'll see later in the agenda that we have one on there. We, without changing the plan, this is nothing uncommon that's done. This is only like a handful of cases has happened. So we do believe that we owe this because this is what's been the practice. Also, I want to say that Hurley Funeral Home does not hold our bodies at any charge for cold storage when we have to go to an autopsy. So at those times, I got to tell you, it's kind of a push and a wash on some things. I don't always agree with certain things, but under this circumstance, I think this time needs to be paid until we get the agreements worked out.
And there's a total of 9 since January.
So
Nine,
9 transports that they're charging us.
and it's 42.
4270.
Yes, total. No, that's the grand total for all 9 of them. It's normally about $475 per transport.
Motion made by Commissioner Pettis. Second. Seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 26, myself, discuss or take appropriate action concerning adopting fiscal year 2024 TIDC formula grant resolution for the Indigent Defense Grant Program and authorize the county judge to sign. Okay, this is the Public Defender's Office grant that we've been approved for. The district judges and Judge Brindell, we've all reviewed this, and this is authorizing the grant for another year. I think things are getting better. I don't always agree with it, but I do think they're getting better, and we need to approve the grant. Motion made by Commissioner Pettis.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Bowen. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Item number 27 relates to item number 25. Discuss or take appropriate action concerning the approval of the memorandum of understanding between Hurley Funeral Homes and Atascosa County and authorize me to sign. Mr. Rowell has reviewed this memorandum, and we need approval. Motion made by Commissioner Riley.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Bowen. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? That motion carries. Mr. Rowell, do you have anything in executive session to discuss? Ms. Burrow? Does anybody? I don't think we have any executive session this morning, so item number 28 will pass. 29 will go to item number 31, discuss or take appropriate action to accept and approve any invoices and payroll. Right. We're putting this on every agenda item so we don't mess up. So, right.
Move for approval.
Do we have any reports or invoices? Yeah, right there. Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Pettis.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Riley. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. How about the report? Do we have any reports, Ms. Burrow? Okay, we'll skip that. Okay, then the last item we have will be comments from commissioners. Commissioners, y'all have anything? Any of y'all?
Nothing.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for the attending the State of the County the other night. I think we had a decent turnout. We heard a lot of good remarks about it. I'm excited that next year the format will change a little bit. We'll have a different type of agenda and structure for that. We're going to probably look around and maybe move the date a little bit. I think that might have been a hard date, probably why attendance was down some. But Commissioner Gillespie had to go to Austin this week. He's going to be vice chair of the Aging Committee for Texas. And so he had to be up there for that presentation and be there most of the week for school.